What up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice & Dragons, we're going to be reviewing the latest hero expansion for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. That is Ranger Ally Pack number 3. So now I'm going to toss it over to Julie, who will tell you more about the game itself.
Well, first we'd like to thank Renegade Games for this review copy. Thanks for supporting the channel, but we'd like to remind our viewers that our opinion will remain our own. So this is for 1 to 6 players. It's for ages 14 and above, and it plays in, we won't talk about the box, about at least an hour, let's say that.
I really would like to get accurate playtimes published on the box, but publishers do it because they don't want to scare people off.
Yes.
So, probably about hour and 20 to 90 minutes has been our experience with the game. That being said, it's a fun hour and 20, 90 minutes and doesn't drag out most of the time. So, what will you be getting in Ranger Ally Pack number 3? Well, you're getting some new Rangers being added to the game. So you've got Karone, the second Lost Galaxy Ranger. Just in case you're, Lost Galaxy Pink. In case you're wondering why you're getting just one of the Lost Galaxy Rangers. If they ever do the box, you're going to have the original Pink Ranger in there. We've got Dr. K, the support for the RPM Rangers. We've got Dino Charge Purple, Kendall Morgan. We've got Udona, who is the mentor to the Power Rangers Mystic Force, but also a very strong Ranger in herself. And then we've got the leader of the Equation Rangers, we've got Delphine. Now, that one's a little surprising to me because that was a team of only 5 Rangers, so we already have one of them. Maybe they're going to see some type of mixed pack with Turbo. There was kind of a little bit of a transition in there. But, yeah, we have those Rangers. So, there you go. It's a little bit of an odd choice. How do they play? Well, you're going to have to stay tuned to find out. So if you're not familiar with Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid, what are people going to be doing, Julie?
You play cards to try to defeat putties in order to get to the big bad.
Yeah, so then you're going to fight the lieutenant, the monsters, then you fight the big bad, who in our case is going to be Thrax or Divatox, as you try to save the world by being teenagers with attitude. Well, in later seasons, you're not always teenagers, but you always have a little bit of attitude. So, on that note, we are now going to
grab our drink,
grab our best friend,
and we're going to remind you to...
No, we're going to remind you that we're going to take it to the table one more time. Now we're going to take a quick look at the components for Ranger Ally Pack number 3 for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. We get a quick rules and component sheet. You get a nice introduction to the characters, some rules on how to integrate the characters, and then for some of the specific new items, like one dice-related effects, the Dino Morpher Blast, you will get some instructions. Now we're going to quickly look at the character sheets. So Dr. K, who is in mission control, while your figures in the command center, you may participate in battles taking place in outer locations. If you do, you are not considered to be in the battle for the purposes of enemy card effects. Udona, the White Mystic Ranger, reserves strength once per battle. During any Ranger attack, you may convert one hit or double hit result to a miss. If you do, you gain 2 energy. So if you got some excess damage, you can gain some energy, which is pretty cool. We've got Delphine, the White Aquitar Ranger. Owner of Aquitar. Once per battle, when any Ranger rolls a 0 during an attack, deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. Pretty cool. Kendall Morgan, the Dino Charge Purple Ranger. Dig deeper once per battle. Any Ranger may search their deck for 1 card of their choice, then shuffle their deck and place that card on top of their deck. And then Karone, the Pink Galaxy Ranger, also formerly Astronema. Know your enemy once per battle during any Ranger attack. If an effect allows the guard keyword to be ignored, you may gain 1 energy or deal 1 damage to a card of your choice. We get some new Zords. You've got the Project Go Onger. Exhaust this card at any time, and any Ranger may choose 1 card from their discard pile, shuffle it back into the deck, and then draw 5 cards. We've got the White Titan form for the Mystic Ranger. Exhaust this card during any Ranger attack. Convert 1 hit to 2 hits, and then, 1 hit to a double result to a 0. Convert a single hit or double hit result to a miss. If you do, you may immediately defeat 1 foot soldier card. Sorry, that one's a little tricky because don't know why you'd want to do the 0, but I guess the free defeat of a foot soldier is pretty cool. The White Battleborg, exhaust this card during any Ranger attack, gain 1 energy, and add 1 die with a 0 result to that attack. Plessio Zord exhausts his card after any ranger plays a card. Place that card on top of their deck instead of discarding it. Another ranger may then draw up to 2 cards from the bottom of their deck. The Wildcat Galactic Beast exhausts this card during any ranger attack. That ranger may ignore the card keyword when choosing a target for that attack, and they may reroll any number of dice during the attack. We got the Plessio Charge Megazord. The start of each ranger turn, any ranger may draw 1 card from the bottom of their deck. Once per turn, when any ranger draws 1 or more cards, they may deal 1 damage to an enemy card of their choice. The Orion Galaxy Megazord. At the start of each battle, add 5 energy tokens to this card. When any ranger performs an attack, they may use the energy stored on this card. So there's a nice overview of the characters. Now we'll take a look at the minis. So here we've got Dr. K with Dr. K's deck. We've got the White Mystic Ranger. Her miniature looks really cool. I really like it. We've got Delphine, the Equation Ranger. Kendall, I'm not as familiar with Dino Charge. And then Caron, I like the Pink Galaxy Ranger, and she's probably one of 2 that we're going to get in. Fun fact about Delphine, one of the only White Rangers, non-Red Ranger characters to lead their team. So we'll take a look just quickly at the cards. So it's not spandex. Play this card when any ranger reveals a card for defense. Add 2. She's got some cool stuff. Getting gear. Play this card when any ranger plays an attack card. Treat that attack card's value as 3 dice. Add 1 die to that attack for each energy spent this way. So lots of cool tech-like cards. Her main one is the Engine Cell. Play this card when any ranger plays a card with an energy cost of X. Resolve that card as if they'd spent 5 energy. Pretty cool. So here we've got Mystic Ranger Cold Spell for a reaction. So anytime a ranger resolves a card, if it has a star effect, they may place that card on top of their deck. Pretty cool. Some other cool reactions. We're not going to go through everything. Flash freeze. If you roll at least 2 0 results during this attack, the rangers may take an additional turn. And then where's her big one? The Snow Staff. After you resolve this attack, choose up to 2 cards from another ranger's discard pile and place them on top of their deck in any order. I like that card. The Equation Knuckle. Single die attack. If you roll at least 1 miss during this attack, deal 3 damage. Pretty cool. Equation Laser. The Equation Saber, gain 1 energy for each miss you roll during this attack. Encouraging Word, play this card when another ranger rolls at least 1 miss during an attack. They may choose 1 card from the discard pile and place it at the bottom of their deck. So we got the Dino Morpher Blast. After you resolve this attack, any ranger with a once per battle ability may get an extra use of that ability. Pretty cool. The Dino Saber automatically deals 3 damage. Any ranger may draw a card, and if they do, you may ignore the guard keyword. Pretty cool. Some maneuvers. Rapid Blast, Reversal of Fortune, Rising Slash, 1 die plus 1. After your results attack, you and another ranger may each draw a card. Really like the way that's setting up. And then last but not least, we got Caron with the Beta Bow. You may ignore the guard keyword when choosing a target for this attack. 2 of those Dark Insight, because she was Astronomer. Play this card when a ranger performs an attack. They may ignore the guard keyword when choosing a target for that attack. If the target has the guard keyword, gain 1 energy. Lights of Orion, draw 1 card. Any ranger may immediately play 1 card. If they do, reduce its energy cost by 2. The Quasar Saber, 2 die attack. Add 1 die to this attack for each enemy figure in the location. Pretty cool. And then the Trans Dagger with pink. You may ignore the guard keyword when choosing a target for this attack. If the target does not have the guard keyword, return this card to your hand instead of discarding it. So some pretty cool stuff, and it looks like the Quasar Saber is the big attack, and the other Galaxy Rangers will all have those as well. Makes sense. Well, there you have it. We've taken a look at the components for Ranger Ally Pack number 3. They'll keep it right here, as Julie and I will be coming back at you with a review of this expansion. So Julie, what did you think of Ranger Ally Pack number 3? Don't worry, we'll get to number 2. When the enemy pack that was released alongside this one comes in, we will probably check out Ranger Allies number 2, so sometime before the end of the year. Now, I'm a bigger fan of this game than Julie is. I think she might have been pleasantly surprised, though. We needed to get a good old reliable to the table. We've been crazy busy, and this came in with just a good excuse to get this back to the table. So, Julie, what did you think of this expansion for the game?
Well, the Rangers seem to be getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I mean, they were kind of fun to play with.
Kind of fun?
They were fun to play with. I think the most original of them that stands out the most is
Dr. K?
Dr. K, I was going to say Dr. something. Yeah, Dr. K. The fact that she can do everything from the command center is pretty darn cool and convenient, because she can just stay there and be like, I'm going to get involved with everything and you can't hit me.
Yeah, which is really cool.
The only problem I had is that I would forget that I had her when we were doing a battle, because, she's not there.
I know, and you would argue with me, you're like, how did you do all this cool stuff with Kendall last time when you were playing as her? And I go, well, Dr. K just kept making her more and more powerful, and those two together are a dynamic duo.
Yeah, Kendall's fun too. I mean, the cards you have to play them the way they have to be played to really chain them and get them to their full potential. But she's fun too, and she can do a lot of damage, as you say, when you combine her with Dr. K. Delphine was okay. She doesn't feel very different from stuff we've played before. And besides that, I really liked Udana.
Yeah, Udana, the White Mystic Ranger. And I have to agree with you. I don't think Delphine is a huge standout. Now, the way that she plays is very different. If we do happen to get the rest of the Aquitar Rangers, I think she might feel a lot better in the team. But I do feel that her and Udana work well together, with the abilities to turn dice rolls to zeros to gain energy, to add damage, and all that other sort of stuff that you can do. So those two pair very well together.
And I mean,
Corone, the Pink Galaxy Ranger.
I don't really remember her much from our previous game, so I obviously wasn't too impressed with her.
No, she's got a lot of cool abilities that lets you ignore guard, so that was her main strength. And then some of her maneuvers were pretty good, like the Lights of Orion, get to draw a card, lets Rangers play a card. She was just a good all-round character, but I don't think she stood out nearly as much as some of the others. I mean, her and Delphine are very similar to me. If you're wondering what the other Pink Ranger is, since we have all the ladies, we decided to pick one of Julie's favorites, the Ranger Slayer, to join our 6 Ranger game.
We won't talk about her, though. We've talked about her before. But yes, she held her own in this
She held her own. She's a very, very well done Ranger.
Yeah, I mean, so they have some pretty cool things. I don't know if you want to get to the villains now, or we'll do that.
No, we'll do the villains as their own review. What we should talk about, though, is the Megazords, because I have not been a huge fan of the Megazords that have come with the other expansions. We typically like the Dragon Zord in battle mode, or the good old-fashioned Megazord. However, I have to say the Plesio Charge Megazord that we have here, which will let you deal a damage whenever a Ranger would draw a card, was fascinating because of all the abilities we had that would let Rangers draw a card. So that's pretty cool, and it's just really ridiculous that, once per turn, any Ranger draws a card, you can deal a damage, meaning when you're fighting some of the bigger enemies like Thrax or Divatox, just by playing through the whole battle, you guarantee that by drawing a card every time, you will defeat one of those cards, which is pretty cool. So I really did like this Megazord. I don't think it's as strong as the others, because I do like taking out some of the most annoying cards early on, but it does offer a different play style. And then we had the Lost Galaxy Megazord, which was basically an energy bank, which was a lot more useful than I thought it would be. One of the things that you struggle with, especially when you're fighting the boss monsters, is your energy. And having an extra 5 energy that couldn't be affected by enemy cards was actually very strong as well. And is another, little bit different play style than what we're used to. But for a change, 2 Megazords that I would actually potentially decide to play with, depending on the Rangers that we were picking. So, really happy about that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're still my favorite, but yeah, they...
No, they're not my favorite, but I enjoy them. Compared to some of the others, when basically every reviewer like, we will not play with this Megazord again. Why isn't this the Dragon Zord in battle mode? Why isn't this as good as that? So for the first time I can say they're not necessarily as good, but they have their place and their strengths are quite clear and easy to exploit with, I think, any Ranger team, just about.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit more about some of the Rangers and the combos. We talked about just our enjoyment, a little bit the way they play. And I think we got potentially the strongest combo of characters that we've seen in the game. Now, previously, we really enjoyed playing as the Black Ranger, as Zach, because of his power actions that you take out potentially 4 cards before the errata. I think Zeo Ranger 3 Blue was Julie's favorite because she would tag up a bunch of cards and just wreck stuff. And now we've got Dr. K and Kendall working together with her card, which I can't remember what the name of it is. I think it's right there. Well, Getting Gear is the card for Dr. K and the one for Kendall.
The Rapid Blast.
And the Rapid Blast will let you target up to 3 enemy cards, depending on what you draw and doing the right setup. So you'll need your Zords and your once per battle abilities to line things up straight. But you can essentially just rack 3 cards and do a ton of damage. Now I can even see something crazier when you can really crank the dice up. If you happen to be playing with one of the Zeo Rangers, or you're doing one of the Legendary Ranger modes, you slip in like a Power Bod Sword or something that lets you split extra damage that you have anywhere else, you can just kind of take on the boss almost by yourself, which was a little bit the same as Zeo Ranger Blue, when he would just be like, I'm pulling off my attack and the 3 boss cards are gone.
Yeah, because Rapid Blast isn't great on its own. I mean, yes, you can do 2 dies of damage to up to 3.
You can do 3 die up to 3 if you really line things up and take your time with an extra maneuver in there, meaning you got to soak some damage as well.
Yeah, except that if you, like you said, if you combine it with, Get in Gear, and we combined it with Engine Cell as well.
Yeah.
So, we added a lot of dice and we were able to do some damage, which was fun, but you have to plan it out.
Yes, and then Dr. K being in the command center, we use the command center. It's still our favorite base. Having the ability to power up is incredibly useful. Her synchronized attack lets you put some good defensive cards back at the top of a character's deck and get essentially a 4-die attack, which costs 0. There's a couple of cards that would let Rangers play cards that cost 0 afterwards. So having Dr. K, it's like, okay, we're going to go through Dona. Then all of a sudden, like synchronized attack, we just rolling like 7 dice worth of damage. So all the Rangers really worked well together, and I didn't think that any of them felt like out of place, like one was weaker than the other. I liked all of them, and their Zords were also really cool too, like the
White Battle Board.
Yes, the White Battle Board was interesting because it lets you like add a miss, which can be very strong for Delphine, and a couple of other abilities. Also add a die that's a miss if you're going to do a reroll. Well, guess what? That's an extra die as well. We have the Titan form, which would let you, flip a hit to a miss, but just automatically defeat a Foot Soldier card. And then I gotta say the Galactic Beast is a little disappointing, only because it doesn't stand out as much, but it's still a pretty cool like standard Zord. Like it lets you ignore guard and reroll dice. So nothing fantastic, but still pretty cool.
Yeah, the Plesio Zord's interesting because it works. They all work well with their character's ability. This one allows you to exhaust the card after a Ranger plays a card, and they place that card on top of their deck instead of discarding it. And then another Ranger may then draw up to 2 cards from the bottom of their deck.
Yep.
So interesting. The Project Goanger, I know you liked it. I didn't like it as much. Any Ranger may choose 1 card from their discard pile and shuffle it back into their deck and then draw up to 5 cards.
It worked well for me the way I was playing Kendall. Kendall was actually doing a lot more solo combat in terms of lots of large groups. So, putting Rapid Blast or putting the card from the discard pile that's going to let her get the 3-target Rapid Blast just worked out very well for me.
Yeah, well, you have to shuffle them, so...
You put 1 at the top of your deck.
Back into your deck.
Oh, yeah. So, let me get the cards back out, and then it was put that card back in the deck, use her ability to put that card to the top of the deck, or that one will let you maybe draw the card. Like, lots of cool stuff that you can do overall. I just gotta say, this is just a really solid expansion for the game, and has some of the best female Rangers that we've seen to date. So they've always been pretty strong. Trini's been one of your favorites for a long time, and I think we got a couple up there that are now challenging Trini in terms of maybe your favorite Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've talked enough about this expansion. I think it's time for us to give our rating. Julie, what do you give Ranger Ally Pack number 3?
going to give it a 7.5.
7.5. I thought you were going to go a little higher on this one. I'm going to give it an 8. I really like this expansion. I think so far it is by far the best ally pack that we've gotten. Now, I do like some of the individual allies more, but I do feel like this pack actually plays like together as a team. You're getting a solid 5 Rangers. You can easily get a 6 to them, and I like all the Zords, so it's just really high quality content. And I think if you're looking for more Heroes of Grid stuff and you're looking for a great small box, this is the one you should definitely pick up. So on that note, we're now going to remind you to
like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you.
And take a look down below in the video description. You'll find links to all of our social media feeds: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to see some pictures of Julie and I playing Ranger Ally Pack number 3, there'll be some on our feeds very shortly, so make sure to check them out. And then popping up in front of us are going to be links to some of our previously released videos. In front of me will be our most recent release, and in front of Julie is going to take you back to another one of our Power Rangers videos. Do you have an idea which one, Julie?
No.
I'll take you back to the original review and how to play of the core game. On that note, we're now going to grab our drink, grab our best friend and fellow Ranger. Remind you to keep playing games.